The studio is small, bathed in soft light. Rain taps quietly on the window outside. On the table between the interviewer and the veteran lies a simple glass of water, a notebook, and a faded photograph in a worn leather wallet. The veteran Aiden Crow, a man in his 60s, sits in a faded green jacket. On his sleeve is a barely noticeable chevron with an embroidered anchor, long since dulled by time. His hands, marked with faint scars, rest calmly on the table, though his fingers occasionally clench as if holding something invisible. The interviewer, a young woman named Leah, holds a microphone with respect, her voice soft but persistent. Leah, Aiden, thank you for agreeing to this interview. I know you don't like talking about yourself. Why did you decide to come here? Aiden pauses, his gaze dropping to the photograph on the table. I suppose someone has to tell it. Not for me. For those who didn't come back. Smiles through sadness, and you, Leah, seem like you know how to listen. Leah, I'm grateful for your trust. We want to hear your story. You served in. Glances at her notes. The Marine Corps, right? Can you tell us how it all began? Aiden takes a deep breath, looks out the window. Yeah. The 80s. I was young, hot-headed. Thought war was like the movies. Signed up at 18. My father, he was in Vietnam. Said war wasn't about glory, it was about dirt and choices. I didn't understand what he meant. Not until I saw it myself. Leah, what did you see? I know it's hard, but can you share the worst moment you experienced? Aiden. Long pause, his fingers grip the edge of the table, his eyes darken. You want to know the worst? Quietly, it's not one moment. Faces. The faces of those you couldn't save. Looks down, but if you want one story, fine, I'll tell you. But his voice trembles. Give me a moment. Leah, gently, of course, Aiden. We're in no rush. Aiden raises his eyes, touches the chevron on his sleeve. It was Afghanistan. 2003. An operation. Hesitates. Let's just call it Pike. We were in the mountains. Had to extract an important prisoner. 6 of us. I was the sergeant. Smiles bitterly. Thought I knew what I was doing. Leah, what happened in those mountains? Aiden inhales deeply, his voice quieter. We got ambushed. Darkness, dust, screams. I saw. Pauses. My best friend Cal. He was right in front of me. Laughing a minute earlier. Then his voice breaks. A bullet. Right in the chest. I dragged him, Leah. Dragged him until I collapsed myself. Touches the scar on his wrist. That's where this came from. Leah, softly. I'm so sorry, Aiden. Did you lose him? Aiden nods, eyes down, and not just him. That night. Pauses. We lost 3. I still hear their voices. Sometimes at night. Smiles sadly. Know what's worse? I had to make a choice. Leave them or keep going. I chose. Pauses, looks at the photograph. I chose. Leah, you chose to keep going? Aiden pauses, then nods. Yeah. But that's not the whole story. His eyes glint. Want to know what happened next? Why I still wear this chevron. Touches his jacket. It's not just a piece of cloth. Leah, tell us, Aiden. What does that chevron mean? And what happened after that night? Aiden smiles, but his eyes hold pain. Not today, Leah. Too much. But I'll tell you one thing. That night, I learned war isn't just about fighting. It's about choices. And peace costs more than you think. Points to the photograph. That's Cal. And others. I carry them with me. Always. Leah, you said peace costs a lot. What do you mean? Aiden shakes his head. You'll find out. If I come back here again. Smiles. You won't let this go, will you? Leah smiles back. No, I won't. Aiden, your story is already touching hearts. Our viewers are writing. Checks her tablet. Tell him he's a hero. His pain feels real even through the screen. What would you say to them? Aiden looks directly at the camera. Don't call me a hero. Heroes, they don't come back. Just listen to those who were there. And value peace. It doesn't come free. Leah nods. Thank you, Aiden. We're waiting for the second part of your story. Viewers, this is just the beginning of Aiden Crow's story. What lies behind his silence? Are you ready to find out what happened after that night in the mountains? Share in the comments. Have you heard stories like this from veterans? Subscribe so you don't miss the continuation. Their lessons need to be heard. The low hum of the air conditioner fills the studio. The rain outside has softened, but droplets still tap the window. On the table, a glass of water, a notebook, and the faded photograph in a worn wallet. The veteran sits upright, his fingers brushing the chevron on his sleeve as if seeking strength. The interviewer holds her tablet, her eyes filled with respect but also persistence. You said peace costs a lot. Last time you stopped at that night in the mountains. Operation Pike. What happened after you lost Cal? Pauses, the veteran looks at the photograph, his fingers gripping the table's edge. It's not an easy story to tell. I tried to forget it for years. But every night, it comes back. The sounds, the screams, dust in my throat. His voice trembles. After Cal fell, I dragged him. Thought maybe he was still breathing. But looks down, he wasn't. You said you had to make a choice. What was it? Raises his eyes, a mix of pain and resolve in them. There were 3 of us left. Me, Riley, and a guy named Tanner. The prisoner we were sent to retrieve was in a cave, a kilometer away. The enemy was closing in. We had maybe 10 minutes. Riley was yelling to fall back. But I touches his scar. I knew the prisoner wasn't just anyone. He had information. Codes. Plans. If we didn't get him, the whole operation and Cal's death would be for nothing. So you pressed on? Nods, his voice quieter. Yeah. I gave the order to move. Tanner looked at me like I was a traitor. But he followed. We left Cal and the others behind. His voice breaks. I still see his face. Laughing just a minute before. Then, nothing. Pauses. We reached the cave. The prisoner was there, barely alive. We dragged him through the mountains under fire. Riley took a bullet in the shoulder. Touches his scar. This was from a sniper. But we got him out. Delivered the prisoner. The operation succeeded. That sounds like a heroic act. But you don't call yourself a hero. What? Smiles bitterly. Heroes? Heroes don't leave their own behind. I made a choice, but... Looks at the photograph. When we got back, I learned the prisoner's intel saved hundreds of lives. Maybe thousands. But I wasn't thinking about that then. I was thinking about Cal. About leaving him there. His voice trembles, his family. I couldn't look them in the eye. Do you blame yourself? Long pause, looks out the window. Every day. But Cal would have understood. He'd have said, do what you gotta do, Sarge. Smiles through tears, he always said that. This photograph, is that Cal? Nods, touches the photo. Cal and me. And 2 others. Before that night. We were brothers. The chevron. Points to his sleeve. It's his. He gave it to me before the operation. Said it was for luck. I wear it to remember. Not just him. Everyone we lost. You mentioned lessons of peace. What did that night teach you about peace? Raises his eyes, his voice firmer. Peace isn't just the absence of war. It's what we pay for. With blood. With loss. With choices that tear you apart. Pauses. After that night, I swore if I survived, I'd make their deaths mean something. I retired. Started working with veterans. Helping those who came back but got lost. You help veterans? Nods. Quietly. No cameras. There are guys and girls who come back and don't know how to live anymore. I listen to them. Sometimes that's all they need. Someone to listen. Smiles, like you're doing now. Our viewers are writing. Checks her tablet. Your story makes us cry. Thank you for your choice. What would you say to them? Looks at the camera, his eyes glistening. Don't thank me. Thank those who didn't come back. And value peace. It's not free. Listen to those who were there. Their stories aren't just words. They're lessons. You came back to share this. It's been a hard journey. Is there anything else you want to add? Touches the chevron, then the photo. Just one thing. Cal had a daughter. She was 5 when he died. I found her years later. She forgave me. Smiles through tears, said her dad would be proud. That's more than I deserve. That's incredible. Your story is already changing people. Viewers are saying they're starting a fund for veterans' families in your honor. How does that feel? Raises his eyebrows, surprised, then nods. If it helps even one family. Pauses, it's worth it. Tell them, name it after Cal. Not me. Thank you. This is a story we won't forget. Viewers, this is a tale of sacrifice, choice, and peace. What did it make you feel? Share in the comments. Are there quiet heroes in your life whose lessons you cherish? Share this story. Subscribe so these voices aren't silenced. They need to be heard. The studio is quiet, the light soft but cold, as if reflecting the mood of the conversation. The rain outside has stopped, leaving only wet streaks on the window. On the table, a glass of water, a notebook, and the faded photograph, now open to show 4 young Marines in uniform, smiling against a backdrop of mountains. The veteran sits upright, his hands calmer than before, though his fingers occasionally touch the chevron on his sleeve, as if it anchors him. The interviewer holds her tablet, her eyes filled with respect and persistence. Your story has touched millions. People say the fund in Cal's name has raised thousands for veterans' families. You said you don't want glory, but how does it feel knowing your story inspires? Smiles, but his eyes hold sadness. Strange. I didn't think anyone would listen. Touches the photo. This isn't about me. It's about Cal Riley Tanner. About those who can't tell their stories. If people are helping their families. Pauses, that's more than I could ask for. But I'm not a hero. Don't call me that. You say that every time. Why is it so important to you that you're not called a hero? Sighs, his gaze wandering the studio. Heroes, they're in books. In movies. Me. I just did my job. And paid for it. Points to the scar on his wrist. We all paid. But heroes? They don't come home to wrestle with memories. They don't wake up to screams at night. Voice softens, Cal was a hero. He laughed when bullets flew. He'd say, Sarge, don't sweat it, we'll make it. Smiles through pain. Me. I just survived. You mentioned Cal Riley Tanner. But you haven't told us what happened after Operation Pike. You delivered the prisoner. Saved hundreds of lives. But something remains unsaid. What is it? Pauses, fingers gripping the chevron. Then he looks up, resolve in his eyes. You won't let this go, will you? Smiles weakly. All right. I'll tell you. But this isn't the story people want to hear. It's not about victory. It's about what war takes. And what it leaves behind. We're listening. What happened after that night in the mountains? Leans back, his voice slower as if stepping back into that moment. We got the prisoner out. Made it to the extraction point. The chopper was waiting. Riley was bleeding out, Tanner was barely holding on. I held the prisoner, 'cause he couldn't walk. Touches his scar. A sniper got me in the wrist, but I didn't let go. Couldn't. If we lost him, it was all for nothing. Pauses. We climbed into the chopper. I remember the sound of the blades. Like thunder. And the silence after. None of us spoke. We just looked at each other. Riley held his shoulder. Tanner, he was crying. Quietly so no one would see. You made it back to base? Nods. Yeah. Handed over the prisoner. They told us his intel stopped an attack. A big one. Hundreds of soldiers survived because of it. They gave us medals. Laughs bitterly. Medals? I threw mine in a drawer. It's still there. Pauses, but that wasn't the end. After the operation they sent us to rest. A week in the barracks. And then I found out. Found out what? Looks down, his voice trembling. Tanner, he couldn't take it. 2 days after the operation they found him in the barracks. Long pause, he took his own life. A pistol. Clenches his fists. I should have seen it. He was quiet, but I thought he was just tired. We were all tired. But he saw Cal fall. Saw us leave them. And he couldn't live with it. Voice breaks. I was his sergeant. I was supposed to protect him. It wasn't your fault. You couldn't have known. Looks up sharply. I could've. Should've. I saw how he looked at me in the mountains. Like I betrayed him. But I gave the order to move on. Hits the table softly. I thought we were doing it for the greater good. For the mission. But at what cost? Cal, Tanner. With effort, me. What do you mean? Sighs, his shoulders slump. After Tanner I changed. Couldn't sleep. Every night. The mountains, the screams, the blood. I came home a year later, but I wasn't myself. My sister said I was a shadow. My wife, she tried to help, but I pushed her away. Smiles sadly, she stayed. Don't know how she did it. But I couldn't tell her. Couldn't tell anyone. But you're telling us now. What? Looks at the photo. Because of her. Points to a girl in the photo next to Cal, Cal's daughter. Her name's Anna. I found her 5 years ago. She was grown. 27. Teaching at a school. I went to her because I promised Cal. If anything happened, I'd look after her. Pauses. I thought she'd turn me away. But she hugged me. Said her dad would be proud. Voice trembles, she forgave me. Told me to forgive myself. That's incredible. Did you find peace after that? Shakes his head. Peace? No. But purpose. I started working with veterans. Quietly, no spotlight. Meeting those who came back. Listening. Sometimes we just sit in silence. Coffee, a cigarette, quiet. They don't have to talk. But if they do, I know what they feel. Smiles. Anna helped me see it. War takes, but you can rebuild. Not for yourself. For others. You mentioned lessons of peace. What is peace to you? Looks up, his voice firmer. Peace is when you can look your family in the eye and not feel shame. Is helping someone not break. Touches the chevron, remembering those who paid for it. I saw people die for peace. And I saw people live without valuing it. Pauses, peace is a choice. Every day. Waking up and deciding war won't take everything. Viewers are writing. Checks her tablet. Your story makes us cry and think. The Fund for Cal now supports dozens of families. You changed how I see veterans. What would you say to them? Looks at the camera, his eyes clear. Don't thank me. Thank Anna. Thank the families waiting for their soldiers. And listen to them. Not just their stories. Their lessons. If you hear screams in your sleep, talk to someone. If you see a veteran, just nod. Sometimes that's enough. And protect peace. It's fragile. You mentioned Anna. Do you stay in touch with her? Smiles genuinely for the first time. Yeah. She calls once a month. Sends photos of her students. Says she tells them about her dad. And me. Touches the photo. She gave me this picture. Said not to forget who we were. Laughing, joking. Living. Pauses, she's right. We were brothers. Is this the end of your story? Or is there more you want to say? Looks at the photo, then the camera. The end? Probably not. Stories don't end. They live in those who hear them. Points to the chevron, this piece of cloth. It's not just Cal. It's Tanner. Riley. Everyone who was there. I carry them with me. And if you're listening, carry yours. Don't forget. Smiles, and tell Anna I'm grateful. Thank you. This is a story we won't forget. Viewers, this is a tale of sacrifice, forgiveness, and peace. What did it make you feel? Share in the comments. Are there quiet heroes in your life whose lessons you cherish? Share this story. Subscribe so these voices aren't silenced. They need to be heard.